beautiful people, and welcome back to another video by our girl, Her Big Bubbly Beauty. It's great to see you all again. So today's video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to be doing a full face of e.l.f. products. Now, I've been really interested in makeup recently and been uploading quite a bit of makeup videos and filming quite a bit of them. So I do have a lot in store. But one thing that I found is that affordable brands really are becoming more and more popular recently. And I think that's great. And some of them have iffy quality and some of them have really good quality. And one of the ones that I've heard has incredibly good quality is e.l.f. It's been a favorite of a lot of the YouTubers that I've been watching recently, and I got really interested in trying it out. So I remember way back when I had something from e.l.f. and it was okay, but it didn't really make a lasting impression, and I didn't keep it in my makeup collection. But I've heard they've changed things around, and now they are quite affordable and quite good quality, pretty consistently. So I'm really excited to try it. One of the things was that I was watching a video and one of my favorite YouTubers said that the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, I believe, or one of the e.l.f. concealers was one of her favorite under eye concealers. And I was like, they're pretty affordable. I could try a full face of e.l.f. makeup and it wouldn't cost that much. So that's what I did. I bought a full face's worth of e.l.f. products and I'm going to be sharing those with you today. Now, I bought these with all my own money. This is not sponsored. And I know it seems like I do buy a lot, and I do. I'm just a bit of a shopaholic. So without further ado, let us get into the haul and let's put on the makeup. I'm actually really excited for this. I think I got everything. And I'm now realizing I did not. I forgot brows. Oops, I got everything else from e.l.f. So let's just try this. So the first thing I bought, which did get a little mixed up in terms of the shipping, was that this is supposed to be down here, but I got this Best of e.l.f. skincare kit, which is a $23 value for only $18. I've been trying to find a skincare routine that I like that doesn't make my acne flare. Now, a lot of this acne is from before. It's still continuing, but I did start a new skincare routine that actually hasn't been doing too bad for my skin. So a lot of these breakouts are prior breakouts. Since I started my new skincare routine, I haven't had many. So that was before I started this, but I'm excited to try this out once I finish with that other one. And then I will pick which one I like the best. But I know it seems a little weird to switch it, but I still haven't found something that works amazing for me yet. I'm liking that other stuff, but it does feel a little harsh, so I am worried that it's going to strip my skin eventually. So if it starts doing that, I'm gonna switch to this one sooner. Now, I know it says $18 on here, but I actually got it for $15. These prices are in American. Couldn't find the Canadian prices on the website, but so $15 American for this set, and it contains a cleanser, a moisturizer, a toner, and a little pot of eye cream. Apparently there's also a face mask in here behind the other thing. That is actually a lot of skincare for $15. I guess it's saying that the face cream is full size, the hydrating sheet mask is full size, the face cleanser is a mini, which makes sense, it's a little small. The mini Keep Your Balance toner, honestly that's a pretty big bottle of toner for a mini, and the mini illuminating eye cream, which I thought that was a full-size product. Eye cream pots are tiny anyways. We're not going to get into much beyond that though today. I'm just going to keep it in the package so that way when I am ready for it, I will open it. So the next set that I got was this e.l.f. Best of e.l.f. set, which is actually what started the idea for the full face. I really was going to just go on there and get the concealer, and then I saw this and was like, you know what, for these prices, I could do a full face and I could make a whole video out of it rather than just buy a one-off. So I did. So this here was also $15. I think I had part of a sale, so that's why. But this contains the Poreless Putty Primer, which I was really excited to try. A little sponge. It contains the Jelly Highlighter in the shade Bubbly, which looks like a nice neutral champagne shade. And then this lip plumping gloss. Wasn't really my thing, but I wanted to try the other three things in this, so I just got it. Cool. I'm not a big fan of lip plumping products. I don't mind things that smooth the contour of the lips or hydrate them. Those are fine, but plumping things, I'm pain adverse. I'm just going to come up front and say I don't like pain. So I try to avoid anything that says plumping because in my mind that's still associated with painful lip products. Probably outdated now. So the sponge feels nice and soft. We'll see how it goes when it's wet. But I do like that it has a nice flat side to blend out the face. And then it has like a pointed side to do under the eyes. And then kind of just the rest of it I'll probably use to help set my setting spray. So this is the Poreless Putty Primer. So that's what it looks like. It looks like kind of an eye concealer or just like a cream. It's very flesh tone. Okay, maybe it's a little light for me, but it's very flesh tone. It is reminding me of the Tatcha Silk Canvas. So same concept. This is the Tatcha Silk Canvas here, and this is the Poreless Putty Primer here. So be interesting to see how this goes on. I haven't quite gotten the hang of the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer yet. I know it's supposed to be really good, but the one time I tried it, it didn't work very well for me. So we'll have to see, but we'll try this Poreless Putty Primer. I'm excited. This is the Jelly Highlighter in the shade Bubbly. I mean, it looks like flan, like meringue before it sets on like a lemon meringue pie. But that's kind of like the nice champagne-y shade. Okay, and this is the Lip Plumping Gloss. Oh, that smells like vanilla. It smells like old school lip gloss, and it looks like old school lip gloss. Yeah, this reminds me of my childhood. The smell and the consistency. Oh, that takes me back to when I was a teenager. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Next, I'm actually going to open up these, which are these Candy Kisses Lip Balm Duo, and it contains Bare Kiss and XO Red. Mostly because my lips are feeling quite chapped right now and I want to get some chapstick on. And so this was just a duo of tinted lip balms. So this is the XO Red, which actually has a decent amount of pigment. Bare Kiss, which is just a nude color. Just kind of the pinky one next to it. I have really been liking tinted lip balms lately just because it gives your lips a little shot of color without that dry feeling of lipstick. And I mean, it's becoming winter, so my lips need a little extra help there. So let's put this one on, the Bare Kiss one. Smells kind of like mint. So that's it on there. I like it. It's quite subtle, but it's kind of for those no makeup days. Anyways, it's a lip balm, but just gives it a nice little kick. The next thing I got was the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist, long lasting. And I just wanted to get a setting spray, and I love dewy setting sprays, so I figured I'd try it. It says new bottle, same formula. It says coconut, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about that. I'm not a huge fan of scented setting sprays just because they're the last part of your makeup routine. So whatever scent is there stays on you like perfume. So you better like the scent or it's not good. But let's see how it sprays. It's a pretty fine mist, actually. It's not bad. It's coconut, but it's not aggressive. It's actually quite light, so I might like this. We'll see. We'll see if it's a good setting spray or not. The setting spray was $10. So as far as like e.l.f. products go, that's a little bit on the more expensive side, but it's still a good price for a setting spray if it works well. Next is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I wanted to get a setting powder for under my eyes. I don't normally set under my eyes, but considering I was doing a full face and giving a full review of e.l.f. products, I figured I should do the step that a lot of people do. Just because I don't normally set my face doesn't mean that other people don't. So I figured I should try it. Of course, I love dewy. I'm like, I feel like most people with uncontrolled acne tend to like more matte finishes, but I'm a little weird in that I just like dewy finishes all around. Yeah, so it's just a loose powder, which are better to set the under eyes with than a more firm powder. So we'll try that out later. I think it's supposed to be translucent or it's light. I can't remember if they had more options or not. So it is supposed to blur, so we'll see if it does that. Okay, next, the thing that actually made me buy it in the first place were the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealers. I had no idea what my shade was, and admittedly, their shade ranges are a little abysmal. Yeah, I'm just gonna be upfront about that. They're not great, the shade ranges. So I bought two different kinds. I bought one in Light Sand and one in fair beige, because I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure if I needed different color for my blemishes and then my under eyes. So I was thinking the lighter one for my under eyes and then this one for my blemishes, which actually, if I'm holding it up here, isn't that bad, at least in my lighting, as a match for my skin. Maybe it's just me. So this one was for blemishes and this one was for under eyes if things were ideal. If not, I had at least one shade difference between the two. On the range of appalling shades, foundation shade ranges were there weren't a lot. Let's just say that there were not a lot of shades on the foundation range. That was a little disappointing. But so this is the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Foundation, and so I'm excited to try it, but because I wasn't sure if this shade here, which is the shade Porcelain, was going to be too light for me, I did get these mix to match adjusters, which are deepening drops. So I went lighter with my shade, and then I bought deepening drops just in case, because I find that sometimes I go too dark and then I can't save it. Whereas if I do this, then I can either darken it or I can put bronzer on to make it look less pasty pale. Oh yeah, it's gonna be too light, but maybe not terrible. These might help just in case. So the Acne Fighting Foundation was only $4.50. So if this works, that's a really good deal, because this is 1.21 fluid ounces, which is more than most standard foundations. I feel like most standard foundations are 1 fluid ounce. This is 1.2. So this next thing I bought was a contour palette, which I also bought because it looked like it had shades that would be good for bronzing for my skin tone. Now for most contour palettes, unless you're a makeup artist, I would actually stay away from most contour or like highlight palettes or things like that, because the odds are you will have 1, maybe 2 shades in here, and then that's all it's going to fit for you. But I thought this was nice and multi-purpose in that I could use one of these shades as a bronzer, one of these shades as a contour, because some of them are warmer than others. So it did have a bit more multi-use for me. So that's why I got this, and it was quite cheap. So this is the light medium contour palette, and it was $6, so like really good price. Now the bite-sized minis, oh my god. So the bite-sized eyeshadows were one of the things that definitely drew me to the brand, as well as the person talking about their camo concealer. So I've been really curious to try their bite-sized eyeshadow palettes before. This here isn't a bite-sized eyeshadow palette. It's actually a blush and highlight duo. When I looked at the product photos, it looked a lot lighter than it does right now, and a lot more pink. So I guess we're going for a peach blush, and that highlight is way too dark for me. That is definitely a more bronzed highlight than I would go for. But this is in the shade Spiced Apple, so this is one of their more holiday colors, but we'll try that as a blush. That blush might also be too dark. Again, it looked brighter in the product photo, so that was my fault. I picked the wrong shade. Let's see how it feels. That feels quite soft and nice, a little powdery, but yeah, that might actually make a good blush. But just to point out the highlight, it's going to be way too dark on me. Yeah. Might make a nice eyeshadow topper, but on my skin tone, it's too dark of a highlight. But they did actually have a nice range of colors and highlights for this blush and highlighter duo. So that was good. I will give them credit for that one. So these were the 2 bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. This one I have heard like almost every beauty YouTuber rave about, and this is the Cream and Sugar bite-sized eyeshadow palette. It is the neutral but well-loved little mini palette. There is pretty well one look that you do with this, to be fair, but it's like the most normal, versatile look. So you get 2 matte shades and 2 shimmer shades in here. So this Cream and Sugar one I'm very excited to use, because as I said, a lot of the beauty gurus that I watch, they love this one, and it's only $2.25. I mean, you cannot get a better deal than that, especially for the quality that I've heard it has. And the size of the pans are quite nice and generous as well. Like, they're pretty well regular eyeshadow pan size, so it's a really good deal, especially for the quality that I've heard that they have. And so this is the Rose Water one. Again, 2 shimmers, 2 mattes, same sort of deal. Now this matte has some micro glitter in it. I'm not the biggest fan of. Did not notice that but that's okay. Bite-sized, it's one eye look, you're done, you know what you're doing, and they're supposed to be really good quality, so I'm excited. And again, $2.25. Like, what? So good. All right, last but not least is this honker. This chunky thing is the e.l.f. Rose Gold Matte Lip Vault, and it's 10 matte lip color. And so you get the shades Natural, Tea Rose, Praline, Dash of Pink, Rowdy Rouge, Rich Red, Wine, Mulberry Maven, Berry Sorbet, and Scarlet Night. And so they do range. They are longer than I thought they would be. So this was by far the most expensive thing that I bought. This was $26.25, but you get 10 of these. So $2.63 a pop. It's pretty dang good if you like them. And even if you don't, there's enough shades in here that you could find some that you do really like, and it will make up for those ones that don't work. So like, I don't think I'm going to be using Praline. Not sure I'm going to be using Natural, but the rest of these look like shades that I would want. Let's do a swatch party. If you hear a low rumbling, that is my dog growling. He has a problem with strangers. The reason why I bought these is because I really like this idea where it's like a lip pencil, but it's a lipstick. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 for me, and I get the precision that I really like. I don't actually like bullet lipsticks as much because I find them hard to apply. I like the chubby lip pencils and these types of things, because they're like easy to draw on lipsticks. I can't be alone in that. Like, it feels like I draw outside of the lines way too often, even with lip liner. But anyways, this is the shade, as I said, Natural. That's actually more dusky rose-ish than I thought it would be. So that's actually an option for me as well. This is the shade Tea Rose, which, is it just me or do they look identical? Next is the shade Praline. Okay, that one's different. That one's definitely a more deeper, just chocolatey brown. Again, I'm not a huge fan of brown nudes. I don't think they suit me, so I probably won't wear that one. Next is Dash of Pink. Ooh, it's a little bright, but I like it. So next is Rowdy Rouge. I guess it came off a little on the side there, but ooh, that is a bright orangey red. You know, with specific looks, I think that would be okay, but I have to be careful with that one, or it will look like clown lipstick on me. This one's called Rich Red. Did I skip that one when I told you guys the colors? I think I did. Anyways, ooh, I like that one. I like kind of the purplish red tone, the berry red, so I do like that one a lot. This one is called Wine. Ooh, it's a little more dark, a little more sultry, but I quite like that color. Mulberry Maven, which I admit from the outer packaging looks like the color I'm gonna really enjoy, even though it's a little bit vampy. Ooh, yeah. I'm kind of a sucker for purplish lipsticks. I don't know why. I don't even know if they suit me or not, but I like them. Then I have Berry Sorbet. I actually take it back. I think that might be my favorite. And finally, Scarlet Night. It doesn't look very scarlet. That's not scarlet. Why do they call that Scarlet Night? I'm not sure I'm going to wear that one. But, so those are all the 10 shades there. And as you can see, you can get quite a fine line. They feel very creamy in texture, at least on my arm. And they give you a nice, good amount of control, a nice fine line, and just looks like they're good color payoff. And again, it kind of does that 2-in-1 lip crayon, lip pencil, and lipstick in one. So those are the shades. I will pick which one I do based off of how the rest of the look turns out. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet for the rest, so we'll have to kind of gauge off of how the rest of this goes. So that is all I got. Now it's time to get into the makeup look. Let's go. I wet the sponge and now it's huge. Like, what? It's so big now. It like barely fits in my hand. It got enormous and it feels really nice and springy. It does feel like it's going to soak up a ton of product though. So not sure how I feel about that, but it got enormous. So that was very interesting. I was just like, oh, it just went like whoosh. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. So first off, of course, the Poreless Putty Primer. That's our first stop. I don't know if I mentioned this before in this video or not, but I'm kind of blind without my glasses, so my mirror will be up right near my face for a lot of this because I can't see otherwise. So, sorry. I will try to make sure that my face is not obscured throughout this, but if it's a little obscured, that's why. How do you even get stuff out of here? I guess you just go in. I don't know how much of this to use. It does feel very similar to the Tatcha Silk Canvas. So it minimized my pores a little bit. Like, my pores are enormous normally, unfortunately for me. But it did make them look a little smaller. But we'll have to see how it performs under makeup. It does feel a little tacky, so that's good. I guess let's just start in with the foundation. I'm going to try it without the drops first, just to see what the shade match is. Also kind of depends on how opaque it is. Actually, it might not be too bad. Yeah, actually that might not be too bad. I might be paler than I think I am. We'll just blend it out on that one side and we'll see. So there wasn't a lot of choice in terms of shade. There wasn't a super large amount of choice in terms of undertone. And it didn't really tell you what the undertone was. It just kind of gave you pictures. So you really did have to guess on the site. So if I would improve or change something, that would be it. Yeah, no, that looks like a fine shade for me. I think the sponge is soaking up a lot of product though, so that went on very sheer. So you might get a lot for your money, but if it's very sheer foundation, you might need a lot of it to do your face with. So it still works out better, I think. Just not as good as originally posited. I actually really like the finish so far. I'm very picky with foundations, and I mean, it's very, very sheer, very, very light, but the actual finish so far is pretty good. I'm kind of digging it. It is evening out my skin tone. Like, it's not adding a lot of coverage, but it is evening things out. I don't know why I expected it to be more full coverage. Maybe because it's an acne foundation. I expected it to be more full coverage, but it's definitely not full coverage by any means. I would say it's light, maybe medium. No, medium is too much of a stretch. It's definitely a light coverage, but that could be because of the sponge I'm using. It's soaking up a lot of the product. It looks, so far, really nice on the skin. So one of the things with acne prone skin, or at least with my acne prone skin, is the texture. A lot of foundations I find emphasize my texture. And this might be the primer working in conjunction with it, but it's really not emphasizing the texture that I have on my face. So that's good. I'm going to go in and do a second layer on that cheek that I started with because it does need another coat. This doesn't really have any spring to it. This just feels like it's a little too soft, the sponge, I think. It doesn't have any bounce. It just kind of feels like I'm smooshing something and there's no rebound. So I'd say for the sponge, I'm not actually a fan. It feels too flimsy and soaks up way too much product. So the sponge will have to be a pass for me, but we'll finish up our face with it. And it feels very light. This foundation feels wonderful. After all my search for a perfect foundation, did I find one that is $4? So many regrets right now on how much money I've spent on foundations. Okay, so quite possibly it is making my forehead look a little dry, but I don't know if that's because I'm trying to find a fault with it or if it's like actually a problem. Right now I'm a fan. I actually really like that. I didn't expect to. I kind of didn't want to just because it makes me feel bad. This might become my new everyday foundation. The Hydrating Camo Concealer in a satin finish. So the lighter shade, Fair Beige, I'm going to use under my under eyes. And then the other one, the semi-light shade, but slightly darker, Light Sand, I'm going to use on my blemishes that the foundation didn't fully conceal. Ooh, nice huge doe foot applicator. I have never tried Tarte Shape Tape, but that's what I hear compared to all the time. So if you have that one, apparently this is the same size. I wouldn't know. This is just a normal big doe foot applicator for me. So my camera cut out through part of that, so I actually don't know how much I managed to get in terms of what I said, but I was using the Fair Beige color as a under eye brightener, under eye concealer. I tried to use the sponge. It's quite cumbersome because of how big it is. Before, when it was a small sponge and it had this point, it was nice to get under the under eyes. Like, I was finding I was having to fold it to get it to fit up in there, so not the best sponge for that. In terms of brightening, it did a good job of brightening. Maybe not best coverage, but it's not sitting in my under eye lines either, so I will take it. I run off of sleep deprivation, and I have my dad's from India, so I do have a bit of the darker circles in my eyes because of that. I mean, it's just something that I deal with all the time. I look like I'm constantly sleep deprived. But to be fair, a lot of the times I am sleep deprived anyway, so I don't know how much I can blame my heritage over my job. Mostly my job. Anyways, let's try this one, the Light Sand for my blemishes. It blended out beautifully under the under eyes, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that yet. Okay, so it blends into the face makeup beautifully. Adds a decent amount of coverage. Let's try that to build it up. Because I want it to look fairly natural, but also give me coverage, right? So why don't we let that sit, and then we'll try somewhere else as well. Yeah, so leaving that to sit for a tiny bit did help. It's still not 100%, but I don't want to do too much more because I don't want to make my skin look cakey. Pretty good. I mean, right here, it's a little bit more purple, so it's hard to neutralize that with concealers, I find, unfortunately. So there's not much more that I can do about that. But anyways, let us move on. Halo Glow Setting Powder. So let's try this. I'm going to grab one of these brushes because I mostly just want to set under my eyes. I'm torn. That made it look so nice and blurred. And like the pores are gone. Everything looks nice underneath it. It's just that it made it settle into my eye lines a little bit more. I'm kind of torn on how I feel about that. So I'm just going to use it to set my under eyes, but it's looking so nice. I'm doing it on the whole face. Yeah, that just helped blur everything. I still feel like I look glowy, but not super dewy, but still like a healthy glow. Actually, it hasn't done too bad for the lines underneath my eyes. It didn't settle into the lines on my forehead. I don't have many, but I do have some. I like this. Wow. I feel like it blurred my face in a good way. So now for the part that I don't know how to do. Just contour. I might just do like a kind of contour-y bronzed my face. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it as like a contour bronze because I don't really know what I'm doing, but we're gonna try it. I just took it on this big fluffy brush and we're just gonna try it. That might have been a titch too dark for me. It blended beautifully though. It doesn't look patchy. Might look a little too deep for my skin, but at the same time, like once it's on both sides, it doesn't look that bad. It did a good job. How do you judge a bronzer? I mean, I don't really use bronzer, so that's why I can't really judge it. We're just gonna move on. That was a nice product. I liked it. Actually, I do think it looks really nice now. Because we're gonna go in with like a peachy, bit more dark tone blush now. So this is the one that I'm not sure about because it's not the shade that I would have normally picked for me. I do focus my blush a lot on the apples of my cheeks, whereas I find some people do to like it just here, but I find that when I flush naturally, it goes all the way up to here, right? So I like to kind of mimic what my natural blush does. I mean, some people might do it to change the shape of their face, and I do like to bring it across my nose a little bit. So this blush is quite nice. It's pigmented, but it also blends out super easily, and it's buildable. And it's quite glowy. It looks quite matte in the pan, but like maybe it's just because of the base products that I have on, but it looks quite luminous. That might just be my base though. That is the Spiced Apple Blush. Actually, like that. It looks quite nice. Kind of a fan. And yes, I do go a bit lighter with my blush than a lot of people, so sometimes it's not as noticeable. Again, it's a preference thing. I prefer more natural looking makeup. I'm gonna try this jelly highlighter. I know I did my face. I set my whole face, so this might not work the best because it is a cream-ish product and it's going on top of powder. So I will be nicer to it than I normally am. Just for swatching purposes. That's what it looks like on my finger. It's like liquid gold. No, champagne. Liquid champagne. Yeah, it's not sitting the best because it's on top of powder. Yeah, I don't think I like that on top of this. Even though it's too dark, let's try a very, very small amount of this too dark for me highlighter. So the highlight for this look is just not gonna work. If you're curious, that's what it looks like. It's not bad, it's just dark. Powder highlight has actually quite a nice glow to it and is a bit better, in my opinion, than the jelly in terms of looking natural. And again, personal preference. If you like that very metallic, very shiny highlighter, then the jelly highlighter is for you. Like it's quite potent. But just for me, it's not my thing. So now when I said I did everything on my for full face, I forgot eyebrows. So I'm just gonna do those now. Yeah, I'm gonna try something from this, the contour palette for my brows. Why not? We will see how this goes. I'm gonna take the darkest shade in the contour palette and see how that looks on my eyebrows. It might be too light, but if it is, we'll just switch back to my normal brow product. Okay, I will actually say that even though it's a bit warmer than I normally do my eyebrows, I quite like it. It worked pretty well as an eyebrow product. I do like soft, more natural eyebrows, so that does help with how it looks. I like it. Again, the highlighter's throwing me off, but the rest of the face is quite nice. I do like the rest of the face. Okay, time for the star of the show, the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. I'm gonna do the cream and sugar one, like I said. Just a nice big fluffy brush, and just actually put this matte shade here. What is it called? No, the shades in the actual palette don't have sub names. So this lightest shade in the palette, I'm just gonna put that all over my lid up into my crease. I mean, this shade is very close to my actual skin tone. And then I'm gonna go in with this next one into this slightly darker color, actually the darkest color in the whole thing, and just put that in the outer corner. It's a bit more cool tone than I expected. It builds, which is nice, but it is a bit more patchy than I thought it would be. When I said there was one look with this palette, I actually was wrong. There's a few looks you can do. You can do kind of like a simple, very light eye look and use this as a liner instead, which I think might have been the better option, but too late now. Now I'm gonna take the gold shade on my finger and do that all over my lid. Wow, that is very impactful. I don't know why I thought these were going to go on a bit less bright than how they appeared. I figured that they would be kind of like, oh, that's pretty, but not as impactful. You have to build it up. Because of the price, I think I didn't expect it to be like, whoa, bam. So I'm going to go in with this lighter shimmer and then just put that in the center of my lid. Before I blend it, actually, I'm going to take the tiniest bit of this dark shade again and just bring it down on the outer corner of this eye, light matte shade, and just go underneath all the way across the lower lash line. I'm going to take a small brush and go back into that very light shimmer, wow, and do the inside inner corner here. This shimmer is very soft. I did not purchase eyeliner or mascara either. You know those moments where you thought you did the full thing and then you realize there's pieces you still missed? I will. I'm not gonna use a eyeliner. I'm just gonna go in with mascara. So the mascara I've been using recently, so this is the Fabulous Flocking Lashes. That is the finished eye look. I will say the shimmers in this performed beautifully. The lighter tone matte was great. This brown one, it was a little patchy, a little hard to blend actually. So giving it full credit, knowing it's like $2.25, this is an incredible eye look, especially these shimmers and this one lighter tone matte over here. This is incredible for $2.25. But this darker one here, I wish was a little bit better, but overall, the quality of this is pretty dang good. And I like the final product quite a bit. So that's the bite-sized eyeshadow palette. Now it's time to choose a lip look to go with this. I actually kind of want something a little bit warm because the rest of my look is quite warm. So it's one that I said that I would never suit. The Scarlet Night might be the best lip color for this look. We'll try it. Okay, so that is the lipstick on. Now, in terms of formula, the longer it's sitting on my lips, the more comfortable it is feeling, but it doesn't feel the most comfortable to start with, I will admit. It doesn't feel very hydrating. It feels kind of dry, and it's not sitting the best. It was a little patchy when it first went on. It wasn't the easiest, as I said, to apply, so not sure how much I like that. Yeah, I don't know. As I said, the more I'm wearing it, the more hydrating it's starting to feel, the more it's settling a little bit better, but it was actually surprisingly hard to apply. And as I said, it doesn't feel the best, so. But let's try the lip gloss. Oh, the smell. Oh, the youth. I actually think I was wrong that when this came out, I was probably like 10 when I first tried something like this that smelled like this. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, it smells like vanilla, just FYI. So here we go. I actually think I'm gonna take this on another brush just because this lipstick is quite dark. It is very sticky. Wow. It definitely feels like a high school or tween gloss because it's very sticky. It's got a nice gold shimmer, which is tying really well with this look. And that is definitely a formula from the past as well. Whew. And the tingling begins because it's a plumping one. I'm gonna come out and say that not a fan. I don't like lip glosses that are that sticky, and I don't like the tingle. Not my favorite. With this look, it looks nice though. I'll give it that. It looks good. Okay, so last but not least is the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. Before I do that, I'm just gonna check how the finish is still on my face. I kind of don't want to mess it up because it's looking really nice, but I want to try this too, so we're just gonna go for it. Okay, so it's not the finest mist as I thought it was. I can feel the droplets on my face. Okay, I don't know what I was worried about. That made it look even better. I like that setting mist. Even though it's a little chunky, it does a good thing for the finish. So I like it. Is it worth $10 though? I'm not sure because it's not the finest mist. So I like the formula of the mist, but not the mister. I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. So that's my thoughts. So final thoughts. Normally I pull my hair down for this part, but I did dye my hair blue. So, or parts of it blue. So it doesn't really go with this fall vibes look. It's very autumnal, very wintry. I actually quite like it. I think the lipstick brought it together nicely. I will say overall, yes. Just yes. I'm actually kind of blown away right now. Some of the products didn't do what I hoped they would, and I was a little disappointed, but some of the products are incredible. So, I mean, I am very impressed with some of the products. So, things that I'm very impressed with are the Halo Glow Setting Powder. It looked incredible on my skin. Well, it's not the most full coverage thing ever. The Acne Fighting Foundation had a really nice finish and it looked fairly skin-like. It was a good match to my skin tone, so I got really lucky and I quite liked it. Like, it's a really good price and you get a lot of product. This might be my new favorite foundation, which is kind of insane. The Hydrating Camo Concealers, while not the most full coverage concealer that you could get, they are still quite lovely and I do like them a lot. They did a really good job of blending. They sit really nice on the skin and just, yeah, I like them. They're good. Same with the face products. They're kind of killing it with face products. The Dewy Coconut Setting Mist, while I didn't like the actual sprayer, I liked how the mist finishes and I like how it looks. And the smell isn't bad. Like, the smell's already pretty much dissipated, which is a huge thing for me. So things can't be overly scented. And not a lot of this had a scent. This was, I think, the only thing that really smelt of anything. And it pretty much is dissipated by now. So I like it. I did not get a chance to use the shade adjuster, so unfortunately, I can't give a review on that. I don't know how it works. And I gotta say as well, for things that I liked, the Poreless Putty Primer, while it didn't fully take away my pores, it did give a nice base for the foundation to go onto. And I think that's part of why the finish of the foundation looks so good, was in part due to this. So in terms of face products, like base products, I guess, maybe not face products, but base products, e.l.f. is killing it. And these are usually the things that are the most expensive. So you can find really good drugstore eyeshadows, you can find really good drugstore lipsticks, and even highlighters, and blushes and bronzers for really decent prices. But a lot of times it's hard to find a decently priced skin base product, like a good foundation for a cheap price or a good concealer for a cheap price, etc., etc. And this is where I think e.l.f. actually shines. Like, this works so well for me. I love them. So they're going to become staples now. I do like them quite a bit. In terms of the blush, I really like the blush. The highlighter was too dark for me, so I can't really comment on the highlighter, but the actual formula itself felt like a normal highlighter. Like, I have nothing bad to say about the highlighter. It was too dark for me. But the blush was actually really, really nice, especially with this look. This contour palette, it worked well as like a bronze / contour. I don't know how to contour, so I just used it in bronze. And that actually worked pretty well for my eyebrows as well, because I like a nice, natural, very light eyebrow. Because my natural eyebrows are quite thick and they're quite dark to begin with. So this kind of just helps soften them a little bit, which I actually really liked. So this is a pretty good palette. Just wish I had more like diversity in it. I know this is light medium, and then there was medium dark, and that was it. But overall, it's quite nice. Quite nice. I like it. And it blends really well. Things I definitely didn't like. This lip plumping gloss. It's so sticky and it's uncomfortable. Yeah, I just don't like it. So I would actually pass on this. It's probably one of the few things that I just straight up am like, don't get it. No. The jelly highlighter, I think I need to be in the right mindset to use it, and I can't use a powder-based product, so I can't really give a good review on this because I wasn't really fair to it. I think it's a really blinding highlight. It will look really nice. It's just, it doesn't look very natural. So for me, it's not the best, but it is a good, it feels really nice. It went on quite nicely. It's just that the finish is not something that I liked, and I did put it on top of powder, so it wasn't the best combination. So it's kind of like a maybe for me. So the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, I will admit, I think because these were so hyped up for me, I was expecting way more than I should have. So they are $2.25 each. I should keep that in mind. They're basically the price of a single, of maybe not even, and you get 4 different shades. Now, with the one that I used, I liked 3 out of the 4. The darker shade I was a little disappointed in. It was a little patchy, wasn't the best, and I didn't feel like it actually went that well with the rest of the shades. It's a little bit more cool toned than I expected, considering everything else in here is pretty warm. So that was a little disappointing. But I will say that the shimmers were great. The overall, I like how it turned out. And so I do think that they're worth it. I'm excited to try this rose water one because, let's be honest, this is my jam. This cool toned magical being is my jam. So I'm very excited to try this. And hopefully this cool toned matte-ish color with micro glitter. I hate mattes with micro glitter, but hopefully it performs better, because sometimes the mattes with micro glitter perform better than the just straight up dark mattes. So hopefully I like the second one a bit better. I was, as I said, I think because I'd hyped it up so much, because so many people rave about them, I was expecting way too much out of them. So my expectations were like up here, and they were good. They just didn't meet my expectations because of how people talk about them, if that makes sense. Whereas if I went into it being like, these are eyeshadow palettes that are $2.25, these are freaking amazing quality for that price, that would have been good. I was expecting magic, I think, which is my problem, not theirs. They were good, and I would recommend them. It's just, as I said, they weren't up to my expectations because my expectations were unrealistic. Let's be honest, they were unrealistic. So that's how I feel about those. Now, the other thing that I did not like was the sponge. It's too spongy. And I know that sounds weird, but it soaks up too much product. It's too soft. Like, if you see it doesn't have a lot of pounce. Like, it doesn't have a lot of bounce back. It's very, very squishy. And it just it feels like they didn't do anything special with a sponge. Like, it just feels like normal foam. Not like a beauty blender foam, but just like a piece of foam from a craft store or something. I don't want to be too harsh on it, but it's good shape, and I like how much it expanded. It's just, it's not very firm at all, and it soaked up a little bit too much product. So overall, I would have to say the sponge is a pass. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Shape-wise, brilliant. Actual quality of the sponge, not so great. Sorry, matte lip colors. While the overall color turned out great, I think that they were a little patchy to apply, or at least that was true of the shade that I chose, which is one of the darker shades. Now, they typically are a bit more patchy to apply, those darker shades, so maybe a lighter shade would apply better. But despite the fact that it has a lot of control based on how it looks, it actually wasn't the easiest to control. The actual component on the inside is a little bit wobbly, and so when you're trying to do a precise line, which you're supposed to be able to do with the tip on these, it was actually quite difficult because it would wobble and not give you that good line. So they were a bit more difficult to use than I anticipated, and a little bit more patchy than I anticipated, and quite drying at first. They did eventually feel more comfortable, but they do feel heavy on the lips. Like, they don't feel light, like you're just wiping on a color, or like lip crayon, like a lip liner, which I would expect these to feel a bit more like, but they felt quite heavy and thick, and just, I wasn't the biggest fan. I will try out some of the lighter colors. Maybe it's a color shade thing. And I would say, if you don't mind that it feels a little bit heavy, it does get more comfortable as you wear it. It does feel more hydrating as you wear it. So if you have a steadier hand than me, are okay with a little bit of wobble when you apply it, and then are willing to wait, it's not bad. It's not bad by any means. And for the price, which is like $2.60-70 or whatever, they're really good price for what you get. And I love the packaging. Oh my God, I love the packaging. And so I think that overall I would still recommend these, but I would just put those warnings out there of know this before you buy them. So for lip products, not the biggest fan, but it's not terrible either. I will say that in terms of face products overall, not just base products like the concealer, the setting spray, the foundation, etc., those are all amazing, but the face products as well. So the blush and the contour palette / bronzing palette were all great. So for face products, e.l.f. actually has the game pretty good. Like, they've got their shit on lock. I think they do a really good job with those face products. The other products, eyeshadows are actually pretty decent. As I said, just be careful of the darker shades, but the lighter shades and the shimmers worked amazing. So maybe don't go for like what I did with a little smoky outer corner, but go for maybe using it as a dark liner and then use the lighter shimmers on the lid, and then just go for a really easy, neutral, everyday wear look. I think they would look good for that. Just when you're trying to blend them out and soften them, get a little bit patchy. I think overall the shadows are really good. I think the things they're not as great at are lip products and sponges. Pretty well, that's the only things that I wasn't the biggest fan of were the lip products in general and the sponge. I would say for everything else, they've got a pretty good formula. Again, I didn't try many cream products, and I do love cream products, but that can be another video. Anyways, so overall, I think that they're a great value for your money. I would recommend them. I really would, for the most part. I would say that they're worth it overall, and you get some really good products for some really good prices. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the final look. What are your thoughts on e.l.f. products? Do you like them? Do you not like them? What did you think of my haul? What did you think about what I did? And if you did like the video, please hit that like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos in the future. And I hope you have a wonderful day, beautiful people. Bye!